Hi everybody, welcome to STEAM. Today we are making robots. So these are very open-ended. You just want to make them with pretty much any extra craft or recyclables that you have in your house. So for this one I'm going to be using a kind of a bigger box. So I used a cereal box, a smaller box. These can be any size. They're definitely open today, so any way you like to make them. So I used a graham cracker box. This is going to be its head, and it's going to be its body. You'll definitely need foil just to give it that cool robot silver material, but if you had wrapping paper or something like that, make it a little different. Definitely okay. I'm going to use tape and hot glue to apply things, but if you just have tape, that'll work great. If you have a parent to help you with the hot glue works really well. If you have the patience to wait for a regular kind of white glue or something, that would work too. So I'm just going to be using the hot glue so it's done really fast so you guys can see it, but you can use any kind of glue. I've got 2 little toilet paper rolls for its legs and 2 for its arms. So if you wanted to draw on the arms, you could use just markers, which I have markers as well, so I'm going to add some different kind of things with markers. So if you wanted to replace these bottom tubes, the legs for cans, that would work really well as well, so that it had a really solid base. So it's really open this time. I had a few bottle caps. I'm going to use them to add a little bit of buttons or eyes, something like that, but anything you have. I have some straws, so I'm going to be using a few straws just to add a little bit more fun onto my robot. So this one's really open, so grab anything you have. If you have pipe cleaners or popsicle sticks, anything you have, and just make something fun with this one. It doesn't even have to look like a traditional robot at all. Mine's going to look a little bit more traditional because I'm making it into silver, but it really can be anything for this one. So just be creative, have fun. Don't worry about making it perfect because they won't look perfect. They'll look perfect for you because they'll all be different. If you make one, put it in the comments so I can see it, because I like seeing how unique they all turn out and how different. So I'm going to start by just taping my boxes closed because I don't want them to open up. So my bottom was already closed, but I'm just going to reseal the top. So if you have some tape, some glue, just so it doesn't pop back open, I'm going to close that up at the top. Oops. Alright, and like I said, this one's going to be my body. So I'm going to take my foil, and I'm going to make a big long piece to cover the entire box. So that's my first step. So I'm going to get some of my supplies out of the way. I'm going to cover my whole box. So let's see. So you can do it like a present and just tape it and wrap it around. Mine is about the same height as the foil, which is pretty nice. So I think I'll do it that way. You don't have to cover the bottom because it won't show, because that's just the bottom of your robot. So if you don't want to cover the bottom, that is okay. Won't show. If you want to cover it, that is also okay. I'm just going to kind of wrap mine around. I'm going to skip the bottom just to save a little bit of foil, a little bit of time. And then you can cut it like that, or you can cut it with your scissors. Alright, and I'm just going to wrap it around and tape it on. I'll make this the back of my robot since you have the edge there. So I'm going to make this the front, his little body. And just fold these down like a present just to get them out of the way. And I think I'll cut another little piece that fits right on top. Although, let's see. Actually, my box might fit right on there. So I think I'll just leave a little space like this, and it'll actually get covered by my other box. So So it depends on what size box you have. I have a big one for the head. I was going to use a tiny one, but I thought a big one would be fun. So if you have a little one, feel free to cover that with your foil or your newspaper or your tissue paper or whatever kind of paper you have. So I'm going to put that aside. It's going to be his body. And let me get his head done. So one of these is not going to show. So this is going to be the bottom for me. So I want to cover all the other sides. So I'm going to do it like this. Just wrap it closed on top. Just like wrapping a Christmas present. So this is good practice for that if you guys need practice in that area. The foil usually does have a shinier side and kind of a more matte side, so choose whichever you like best. I'm just going to do it like this. Tape that down. Lost my tape under there. And I'm just going to leave this big part for the top to cover that. And sometimes it is best to leave the box open instead of putting foil on it, just because it might glue a little bit easier, stay a little more stuck. But it's up to you. The foil should work pretty well too. Alright, so I did a little bit extra. Alright, I'll just come all the way around. And tape that down there. So this is another one. You could be using hot glue if you wanted. You could be using regular glue if you wanted to just put that instead of a little piece of tape. The tape works really well. Works for all ages. You don't have to worry about getting hurt by tape. Although be careful with these little things because they can be kind of sharp. My head ends right about here. So I'm actually just going to cut some of this excess off the top. Not too much. You could make it a cool hairstyle. Instead of cutting off the extra, you could have made it like a little mohawk for the robot. That would be pretty fun. And I'm just going to cut the extra off. Don't worry if it's lumpy. That's just its hair. You just want it to be covered. And then with foil, usually kind of squishes down really well, so don't worry about that either. Alright, so I got them covered. He's kind of got a little bit of hair, but it'll stay down, so I'm actually not going to tape the top. Just let it be. Alright, so there's this little head, and here's his body. So I'm going to keep going with my foil, and I'm going to do my arms and my legs. So the legs I really just need to wrap around the outside. The arms, I probably want to cover the ends too. I do have a little bit here. Not quite enough. Alright, so I'm going to cover those legs here. I'm going to cut it with my scissors so it's more accurate this time. And I want it to be just about the height of my toilet paper roll. So I'll probably use my scissors to do that as well. So it's about this tall. So I'm just going to cut it along my toilet paper roll so I know it's about the right height. You can always wrap it inside actually. That might work really well. Alright, and I got it cut out, so I'm just going to wrap it around, and I'll tape it on there. I'll just put one little piece of tape here, keep it stuck. And then, like I said, if you made it a little longer, you can just fold these over, and it actually works really well. So don't worry if it's not cut perfect. That's completely fine. I got a little leg here and it's going to work great. This one I think I'm just going to let it wrap all the way around. So I will just keep it how long it is. Wrap it in there. And I got lots of excess and I'm just going to tuck it under so I don't have to worry about it. Put that tape on there and I'm just going to tuck that in there. Okay. It works just the same as long as you can press it down. So you can have a light, nice flat surface to stand on. Alright, so now I'm going to do the arms. And I haven't decided yet if I want a cap or not. Let's see. Alright, so I'm going to do this about the same way. Just want a piece long enough where I can just roll it. And I'm going to do it about half. Just about. I didn't measure because it doesn't matter too much. These ones are really fun. They don't have to be perfect at all. They're just to be creative, to have a little bit of fun. You get to use your imagination a little bit. You can make a robot or you can make something totally different. And you use the materials that you mostly have around the house that are kind of extra, which is fun. We don't want this to go to waste, so it's great to use them for crafts. Alright, so I got my arm, and I'm going to make my arm have a little cap like this. There, so that he has kind of a little cap so you can't see through it. Like these are the legs, you can see through them, that's okay. This one's going to be the hands, or the arms, so you can't really see all the way through. So that's my plan for that one. And I'm going to do the other arm the same way. Just going to roll it under. I'm going to do this way because this was the more flat one. Just going to roll it over. And it can be long, that's okay, you just overlap. Alright. So I mostly have my hot glue for my added buttons, and I'll put the boxes together with hot glue. Alright, and I've got my two arms, my two legs, my body, and the head. So I'm going to go ahead and put the eyes on the head. So I'm going to be using these two milk jug caps for the eyes. And here's where I'm going to use my hot glue. This is where you could use tape. Regular glue would work pretty well. You just want to get just the edges, or if you're taping down, you can tape it all over the top. And I'm just going to stick those on there. So I'm going to have big eyes. So if you guys have puffy balls at home or lids work really well. If you have the extra plastic lids or metal lids, just be careful not to cut yourself on those metal lids. Sometimes those are a little sharp. Alright, and I'm just going to draw on his little face. I'm going to give him a cool robot mouth. And if you have nothing at all, you don't have bottle caps, lids, cardboard, you can just draw on these extra little things. So you don't need much for this one, just whatever you have. Don't worry if you don't have all the supplies I have. So I made him a cool robot face. So you could make yours a cute little robot. You could make it a different kind of creature. Maybe it's not a robot. That's okay too. Alright, and I'm going to give my robot a little compartment to put his things in. And I'm going to make it out of straws because that's my material that I have with me. You could use popsicle sticks for this part. So I'm going to give him a nice big compartment to store all his stuff in. Ooh, you could add antennas to your robot. That would be fun. I'm going to do 2 big straws and 2 little straws at the top. to make a square or a rectangle. That's what's going to be my little imaginary compartment. Alright, so now I need to cut these. So I'm going to measure them a little bit. So I'll put it right along here and just see how long it needs to be. About here. Just got the extra. Might need another glue stick. So that's okay. Just put that in there. Alright. Remember, if you don't have a parent with you, then skip the hot glue gun. You don't need that. You can just use tape or regular glue. But if you have a parent with you that wants to help you with this, then they can help you with the hot glue gun if you have one at home. But I don't want you to get burned because they can get pretty warm. Mine's just a low temperature. Still gets pretty hot. So I'm going to do put a little compartment on there. I'm going to add my last, I just had the 3 bottle caps, so I'm going to add my last bottle cap as kind of a handle for the compartment. So you can do however you want to do. If you wanted to add paper on there, to add different elements, paper works great. You can cut it, you can draw on it. It's very versatile. Alright, so here is the body, and here is the head, and now I just need to put them all together. And there's the arms and legs. So now I just need to put them all together. Tape will work just fine. I'm going to go ahead and use hot glue for this one, because it's pretty fast. And I'm just going to do it while it's on the side. So it can be kind of tough to get the legs to stay, so you might need hot glue and tape, or just tape, or a few different kind of adhesives, which is alright if you guys have those. And they're at the bottom, so even if you put tons of stuff on there, don't worry about the look of it, because you won't be able to see. Alright. Let's see, I want to make sure it balances. So I picked my big wide toilet paper rolls for the base. Cans really would work great. I didn't have any cans this week. I just did my recycling. But if you guys have cans at home, those are a great way to do the legs. Because they're big and solid and they're already silver, so you don't have to cover them at all. Alright, so I got it to stay up, so I'm pretty proud of that. Let me put on its arms. It's going to go on the sides. You could put its arms out straight, or you could put your arms on the side. An actual consideration, I could do them face down like this. I could do them face out like this, or I could do them out like this. I actually think I'm going to do them like this. So he's kind of got his arms resting alongside him. And I just changed my mind right there, so that is a fun thing to do too. Don't worry about making it exactly how you planned. Things can change along the way, and that is totally fine. Sometimes it makes it even better. So these are now its shoulders, kind of, which I like the idea of. Put it on, try to make it a little even. Alright, now I just need its head. Let's see if it stands up. That's the hardest part of this one. Alright, so far so good. Let's see if it'll stand up with its head. It gets really big, right? It's a tall robot. I think it's gonna work. Let me get its head on there. So the cans are a really good sturdy base if you do have them. But don't worry if you don't, because as you can see, the toilet paper rolls are working well. If you don't have these supplies this week, feel free to save this craft for when you get these supplies. They're recyclable. They usually come about every once in a while. I was out of cans this week, but probably next week I would have some. So if I wanted to redo this craft next week, I could do that when I have all the supplies. Or you can do it again next week and do it a little bit differently. Whatever you have. Alright. So I finished my robot. He's kind of a classic robot, but I want to see what you guys do with yours. We did this one at the library and I got so many creative robots. So if you guys do one, post it in the comments so I can see it. Even if it looks nothing like a robot, I would love to see it, and you did a great job. So thanks for joining me. I hope you guys have a lot of fun and make some really creative stuff with all your extra supplies at home. Bye. Thanks for coming.